A man convicted of the 1999 murder of a San Luis Obispo woman learned today whether he could have another shot at life outside prison walls. Michael Anthony Morgan of Atascadero had a parole suitability hearing. He murdered 36-year-old Angelina Rowe on Mother's Day weekend in 1999 and dumped her body at an Atascadero construction site. A few months later, in August, her body was discovered in a 45-foot pillar hole by a construction crew building a bridge along Highway 41 east near Rolling A Ranch. KSBY News reporter Alexa Bertola has a wrap-up of what happened during today's hearing.
Michael Anthony Morgan was able to sit before the parole board today because he is eligible for parole offered to older inmates. Now he's over 50 years old and served more than 20 years. After 3.5 hours, the 61-year-old learned what's next. Michael Anthony Morgan is behind bars at California State Prison, Corcoran. In 2000, Morgan pled guilty to first-degree murder and was sentenced to 26 years to life in state prison. During his first parole suitability hearing on Tuesday, it was determined he poses an unreasonable risk to society, and he was denied parole.
So amazing, I can't even describe it. It's overwhelming knowing how I can possibly move forward and heal, and that he's not going to be out. I am safe for a little bit.
Angelina's daughter Amber was 7 years old when her mom was murdered by Morgan. I was the only news media observing the virtual parole suitability hearing along with more than 24 of Angelina's family members. We heard testimony from Morgan, input from the San Luis Obispo County District Attorney's Office, Morgan's attorney, and statements from the victim's family. Morgan said a number of times during the hearing that he should rot in prison, he shouldn't be on this planet, and that he should be on death row.
He's been a drug addict, and he has 2 months clean now, so all these feelings and emotions, I don't think he knows what he wants.
He said he wanted to make amends with the family and that he made the most horrible decision of his life. Morgan, however, denied murdering Rowe and said he only disposed of her body with his truck. He instead placed the blame on John Card, a San Luis Obispo man who was convicted of voluntary manslaughter in the case and was released after serving 7 years.
I actually believe J.C. Card was involved a lot more than he was. But, Michael Anthony Morgan put his life on the line to tell us that.
The district attorney's office argued that all evidence pointed to Morgan, the drug dealer, and that the motive of the murder was his stolen wallet, which happened to fall on Angelina. His lawyer said in 2017, Morgan received his GED and also has done a variety of programs over the years. He had 3 serious rule violations in recent years, though, including battery on an inmate and another incident involving meth. The victim's family concluded that he should remain behind bars for Angelina's murder and that a lot of innocent people would be fearful if he's let free.
He is a very vengeful, angry, bitter person, and I would be afraid, of any age, any race, any gender, just the wrath of Michael Anthony Morgan.
Morgan will be eligible for another parole suitability hearing in 10 years, but he can petition to advance that.
I got a lot of questions answered today that I always wondered, and it was so nice to be able to get some closure.
According to CDCR, last year, just 34% of inmates were granted parole out of more than 4,100 inmates that were eligible. Now that's down from 36% in 2020. In studio, Alexa Bertola, KSBY News.
According to CDCR, of the 720 life-term inmates released in the fiscal year 2015-2016, as a result of a grant of parole by the board, 23 of those offenders, or 3.2%, were convicted of a new crime during a 3-year follow-up period. Angelina Rowe would have been 59 years old on March 16th.